Chairperson, thank you very much. Let me once more greet the party officials and members of our Central Committee gathered here today as augmented, and greet the leadership of COSATU that has joined us. Fellow fighter Mike Shingange, the First Deputy President of COSATU, Comrade Gerald Twala, the Deputy General Secretary of COSATU, and many other COSATU leaders and members amongst us here. And when we cut the cake, we'll invite some of you to join us, Comrade Noltan, to join us in front for the cutting of the cake, given your responsibilities in the union. Let me greet the leadership of our Young Communist League and appreciate the message, Comrade Mzwandile Takudi, and all members of the Young Communist League and office bearers that are here. And also appreciate the performance by Comrade Majesty Mnyanda. Let's give him a round of applause. Majesty is a cultural activist and a member of the Communist Party who used to work at the party headquarters. He's a man of theater and performing arts. And when he went to do the first production, we had to put some money together at the party headquarters so that he can go and produce his first CD. I'm very proud of this development, Comrade Majesty. I don't know if he's in the world, but we really are proud of him. And he has been doing well in community theater and development of community theater in our structures, especially in the Linda Tabani district of Johannesburg. He's a comrade that we must always have, mostly in our activities, organically an party activist and a movement, a member of our movement. He comes from a very important family, Kamnyangi, where his grandfather was actually one of our main stalwarts in our revolution. I must say, comrade, that because of our program today and the pressures of time, I'll be quite brief, but allow Comrade Mike to say whatever I want to say without limiting him to my extent. So it doesn't have to be, in terms of the program today, the response, he must just say whatever I wanted to say on behalf of COSATU. This period is for celebration with COSATU. Now, we must also apologize that our coordination was not up to scratch. But we appreciate, Comrade Gerald, that you stopped everything to join us here. We could have had other comrades from COSATU, from affiliates, who should have joined us. We're literally disappointed by our coordinating team on this evening program, Comrade Tulas. But we appreciate your presence. I think the main thing is to say COSATU has reached a significant milestone in its 40 years of establishment. And since it was established, was immediately thrust into the crucible of struggle to end super-exploitation, gender discrimination, and national oppression in pursuit of the NDR. And its traditions of organization and debate, of class analysis, and its pursuit of class struggle has patched itself significantly in the history of our national liberation struggle. We in the Communist Party are very proud to have worked deeply inside the trade union movement, to have contributed significantly in building the progressive trade union movement in our country. As you know, with the development of the ICU, Industrial Commercial Workers Union, led by Clement Kadali, who was frightened by the strength of the Communist Party in the trade union movement and unleashed a reactionary agenda to remove communists from the ICU and the Communist Party. That decision, by the way, was very important. It's a lesson of history. With the response to that decision, as I equally recognize in this talk from General Malachi. Yes, I was telling this man that he comes from Zanin. Yeah, this Comrade Gerald. I was saying this is the man from Palabra Malachi. Although he's based here in Gauteng. So, during that time, the critical lesson of history is that with the expulsion of communist cadres and leaders from the trade unions, the Communist Party decided to take responsibility and build a progressive trade union movement in this country. What we now characterize literally as COSATU from the period of Sacp was because of that particular intervention. And we changed the history of our struggle. It is in this regard that at the height of the struggle against the evil system of apartheid capitalism and colonialism, we had such leading cadres in the trade union movement, the militants of Leon Levy that we spoke about here a couple of days ago, our president of Sacp, a leader of the Communist Party, the militants of J.B. Marx, that was retired as a teacher and a clerk, was retired as a teacher and deployed to be a clerk in a mine by the South African Communist Party with the sole mission to establish a trade union of mine workers, African Mine Workers Union. And he did that very well, Comrade J.B. Marx. Of course, Moses Kotane, our General Secretary, Vuisile Mini, John Kadimeng, Mark Chopin, he worked with them closely, General Malachi, Oscar Mbeta, and many others, to mention just a few. Of course, Ray Alexander Simon, who were critical in the establishment of the trade union movement in our country. That's why you could not trace any other trade union today, at least those who were at the founding of COSATU, without the role of the Communist Party. And communist cadres paid with their blood to build this federation from the period when it was Sacp. For instance, in the first conference of Sacp, the then president, Comrade Levy, reiterated a firm position that, while I quote him, that while the Sacp must pursue an independent policy in the interest of the workers, it must also participate unreservedly in the struggle to mobilize the people behind their demands as embodied in the Freedom Charter. It is important, therefore, that is close quote. It is important, therefore, to further reflect that Sacp itself emerged from the South African Trade and Labour Council in 1944, which had adopted a radical workers' charter which embodied non-racialism and called for an end to capitalism and the building of socialism. This period was quite difficult. We had some of our comrades who were disowned by their own families, who were leaders, for instance, in the textile unions. When they mixed with black workers, their families denounced them. But they never gave in. They continued to work to build a non-racial trade union movement. It is therefore critical that as we reflect on the basis which led to the establishment of COSATU from its early days as Sacp, we must appreciate the continued role of COSATU, which took the traditions of militancy, of non-racialism, of advancing the struggle for socialism forward. As it was recorded in our history, in March 1990, in a historic meeting that took place between COSATU NEC and Sacp national office bearers in Lusaka, Zambia, to plan the strategy and tactics for the final assault on the apartheid regime by the people of our country. There was always coordination, and the handover was seamless and comradely. No fight for positions. Seamless and comradely. And COSATU, from its establishment in 1985, became this massive living giant, reliable living giant of our people. Personally, during underground, I used to distribute banned literature at COSATU meetings, especially our Umsebenzi literature, particularly Jimiston, where we used to go and slip things. That's where the regional headquarters of COSATU were based. And we used to slip things there to comrades and leaders like Amos Masondo. As you know, you'll be regarded as the most arrested comrade in the country. Yeah, Amos Masondo. Sometimes they will arrest him today. When we planned for his release, they've released him and they've arrested him again. Yeah, it was like that. So COSATU has continued to play this significant role and must continue to play a critical role, particularly in the restructuring of post-apartheid South Africa. And this was one of the messages, one of the critical messages in that engagement in Lusaka with Sacp. And we are proud that many of COSATU leaders, Comrade Tulas, went on to play this critical role. Were you not in this delegation? We were part of the consultation with the ANC on the SATU sign.
Still as a craft union, as Slovo calls us.
So, I must say, comrade, towards ending, just to say, we are here today to celebrate our federation, the mighty COSATU, and Sitibu COSATU and its leadership. We have great trust and belief in you that you won't waver in the pursuit of workers' interests. You won't waver in the pursuit of socialism, in representing workers across sectors. That's why yesterday, when we opened our augmented central committee, we paid tribute to the victory by COSATU, especially its affiliate, Comrade Gerald Nehawa, where you are seated next to its president, for winning an important victory for workers, particularly the community healthcare workers. We remain proud of your achievements. We wish you more strength. And as a Communist Party, we say you can always rely on us. Our job, as you know, is to build socialism and to end exploitation of workers and to change relations of production and to take ownership of wealth of our country into the hands of workers, that the producers of wealth must fully enjoy that wealth, must not just produce wealth for some people, the capitalists. That's why our task is also to build and solidify the unity of workers across affiliates and federations, beyond even COSATU, into other unions and federations, including independent unions, but not to build rivalries, but to unite workers. And we've been extremely pleased by the manner in which we have taken up this task as COSATU, even independent of the Sacp. When we have been so magnanimous that you convened big marches, big meetings across federations, and you have taken the leadership, which is fully expected of you, and we remain proud of that capacity to think only beyond your confines. As you know, the bosses benefit when workers are divided, and you have seen that, and you have not allowed them to do so. Hence, some of the recent activities that you have convened. We also appreciate that you are participating in the forum we have set up for the Conference of the Left. We are looking forward from this Conference of the Left to enjoying a program and under the banner of a strategic framework accepted by this augmented Central Committee to build a second, more radical phase of transition, democratic transition in our country. And we say to all our comrades here, which is a message that we also shared with them earlier, we just repeat it in your presence, that all communists have a duty to build our trade unions. All communists have a duty to take care of workers, to look after the interests of workers, to have a clear ideological clarity about the direction of the worker struggle. And those that are organizing their millions under COSATU must provide mass strength in the struggle for socialism. So we call on you as well, our members in particular, to build a stronger COSATU, to build a stronger trade union movement in this country, to lift up this worker density that is low at below 26% to much higher density in the context of the changing nature of work in our country. It is therefore important that we must work with COSATU to defend the gains of our struggles, to defend the gains that workers have achieved, even under the apartheid regime. Some of the gains that you have achieved under the apartheid regime, we know that they are under threat today because of collaboration by some of our comrades with capital. And we are looking forward to work with you in deepening the reconfiguration of the alliance and to move forward to a united movement of our people towards socialism, starting with elevating the strategic role of the working class in our revolution as the leading social motive force within the National Democratic Revolution. In this regard, we want to wish you well in your 40th anniversary for this great achievement. LCT, ala ala COSATU, ala ala. Maikule COSATU, maikule. Long live the mighty federation.